Welcome back to Brummy Wonders once again. More work on the MORRiS finally. The new master cylinder has turned up after a huge debacle with the Royal Mail, the Co-op, and eventually APC pulled it through. And we got this from some MORRiS Motors spare place down Bristol way. And I only know that because I barely check where I buy things from, but I was keeping a good eye on the tracking system of this being delivered. And it took that absolute piss, which I'll probably explain over this video whilst I do some kind of time lapses of the work to be carried out. But basically, there's the new one. Against all advice, basically, I have gone for a pattern version, a fakie. I have gone for a Chinese remake because I am tight and I just wanted to have the experience of doing this. And with the buying of the cars and all the other problems going on at the moment, throwing crazy money at stuff just wasn't in my remit. So we have this to see how things go. It marries up fine with the old one. There we go. So the old one, I don't think that was particularly fancy either. It's not a Lockheed, or it is a Lockheed. And this one failed, so let's bear that in mind. It says it on the rubber there, but this one went wrong. So maybe this one can go wrong too, and there's no major difference there. But the difference obviously here is this one's got the little filler end for the remote reservoir. It doesn't come with it as standard, but you get a little breathy hole in the top cap instead, if you can see that. But I'm going to forego the whole remote reservoir thing because reading up on them, if you haven't got braided hoses or like a proper copper set, then the rubber ones that come with them are just liable to sweat and basically lose you fluid over the months. So I'm just going to go old school and just drum brake it with the standard master cylinder. I'm happy to look in the drive as well to top up oil, and I think it's fairly exciting anyway to just wind it back to the 60s again. So that's what I'm going to do, and just take it easier on the braking. It's not like the remote reservoir made braking any better anyway. It was more a way of just checking your oil levels easier under the bonnet rather than under the footwell. But I'll have a new plate covering this, so getting to it will be much easier than it used to be. Now it still has the servo system in place, and I am planning on keeping that, which does to a point improve braking, not physically, but it makes it easier to apply them without having to drive your foot through the ground like a Flintstone. So we're gonna throw all the bits off this onto this, which was basically the banjo end. It's going to come back out of here, and the banjo went into the T junction, which goes to the front and rear. It was a little bit different to how they usually come. Usually you'd banjo to the front and I think straight out to the rear, but now we're just banjoing out to front and back, so that's a little bit easier. And that's it. Put it all in place, reverse what we did taking this one out. We're going to screw the pedal back into that end, we're going to screw the brake line back into that end, and we're going to top it up with dot 4 and go from there. So this is exciting, isn't it? I hope I can film it properly. I'd say the sensible place to start is to get the cap off now rather than later, or at least loosen it, so we don't have to have a fight with it when it's in place, and then we can get it topped up. Oh right, it's nice and easy, so that's all good. Let's check how clean she is inside. All good. We've got a nice new copper washer, so that's sweet. Everything's looking nice and clean in there, which is important. So let's just lightly pack that back together. And essentially, I've got the old parts here. There's the banjo, which is going to go into this end that way, and then that's going to come out the side. And just in case, we shouldn't need this, so you've basically got this breather hole on this cap here, and if you're not using the remote reservoir, you want the breather hole. If you do want to use the remote reservoir, you need a cap that doesn't have the breather hole, because the oil is going to be living above this level, which would make things leak, so you need to replace it with that. But like I said, we are getting rid of the remote reservoir, so this can stay. Apparently it's all about just like displacement almost. If it's overfilled, it will come out there. If there's general problems, it will be letting you know by coming out of there. So it's quite a handy thing, which I think is crazy, but I'm going to keep it because the internet says so. So now we're just basically going to give the old banjo a bit of a clean up and a wipe down, so we don't get crud in the new bits. That's good. Copper washer still present. Not sure which way around that was, but I don't think it matters. So we just want to avoid any opportunity for dirt and crud and rubbish to get into the brake fluid, because they're never good. So I hope you're with me. I'm just going to give this a bit more of a clean. So now, here will be the new entrance. Which again, maintenance spray, you can use it in brake bits, components. I don't know, don't trust it, so I'm not going to spray it down there. But I am going to get our copper washer in as well, get the banjo back on, get that on there. Beautiful. A bit more of a wipe. And then get that, oh, in you go, into here. Assuming that the holes just marry up like magic, which I'm not sure how you can know that. Yep. There we are. We'll see if that equates to, I doubt the holes actually have to marry up. I guess there's a bit of a place all the way around this banjo where the brake oil can go around and find the hole and shoot out. But we'll obviously find out when this doesn't work. So let's give that a quick tighten up. I'm sure that was a 5/8, just like everything else on this car. Yes. I know it was very much a 90-degree angle coming out into the chassis. So that's that. Hopefully that gives us enough room to screw back in later. And if it doesn't, obviously we just loosen it off. But that's the next problem. And now we enter the world of putting it back in there. So we're going to, that end for the brake pedal, obviously going into this big rubber end where it should clip on. Is the thing in there? Do I need to remove that from the old one? I think so. Oh shit. Okay. So it would appear that we need to take this whole bit out and connect it into the new one somehow. Do you reckon it'll be easy? We'll see. But I guess a good place to start is to get this boot out of the way. But here we are. So does that all just come out? Let's get the 5/8 back in the game. I'm gonna have to go and get it. Good. Let's get her in there. Let's get rid of that. Does this all come away? Jesus Christ. Really? So this may need a bit of a rebuild, but I don't have a Circlip remover. How can I do that? How can I do that? Well, this is hopeless. Basically, to get this old, I guess it's a Pushrod out, I've got that Circlip to remove to take all the gubbins out. Now looking at the new one, the Circlip and all the gubbins is in there too, so we can only hope that the new seals are also in there and it just needs replacing onto this old one, keeping the old spring, I imagine. I'm not sure what's in there, but I'm going to have to purchase a Circlip remover, aren't I? So into the car. Fingers crossed. Does it count as home care? We'll find out. $4.99. I don't know, it's interchangeable, and I think these are thin enough to use, but we'll see. Now, I'm still aware that this whole plan could come crashing down in front of my eyes for today, but we've got what we need to take the, well, both cylinders apart, the old one and the new one, to get the gubbins out, to put them into the new one. But are the new seals in there? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I can't imagine why they'd put a Circlip in the new one and have it all assembled if there was nothing fun in there to use. But if not, I guess it's another 13 quid on a new seal kit, and then essentially probably just could have repaired the Lockheed one. But if the repair, well, if putting together the Chinese one goes well, I will repair the Lockheed one, maybe rebore it or whatever you have to do, and then sell it, because that should be about 100 quid in my pocket, shouldn't it? So we'll see. So welcome to Man vs Circlip. I've never really used these before, but so far the assembly's gone well. Now, you in there, you in there. How do I peel it out? With a flathead? How the fuck? Okay, what's the way of doing this? Who's that? It's gonna fling out. It's close. Oh, you gash. Nearly. Jesus. Now this is content, isn't it? This is the last one. I'm going home. One more. Right, I need to, so I can almost prize it out and then it all goes wrong. Jesus. Apparently I've got Parkinson's now as well, that's good. There's one end. Now if I slowly, okay. Please don't go back inside. Wicked. Oh right, putting that back together is going to be a pain in the dick, isn't it? So here come the gubbins. What will we drop? That's good. So there's no major sealy bits by the looks of it. There's just that. So we want to keep that clean in an ideal environment. And we'll find out what else shakes out of there. And as you know, one probably wonders, we are responsible fluid get rid of us. Okay. So is that it? There's a bit of a seal in there. I wonder how we get that out. Should we take apart the other one first? And then hopefully that's already living in there. So here's the new one with its circlip that now needs removing. I'm not going to film it because you know I'm sick at this. Now it appears that everything that needs to live in here lives in here. It's a little bit different looking. So if we pull that, we can see that black plug again. But there's a copper washer there. So I'm going to carefully put all that back in. And then hopefully, I mean, if we just compare it to this one again, we've got the washer and the rubber. So we're down to that bit, which means that should be unscrewing, I guess. Unless I just swap the whole thing out. I guess we'll swap the whole thing out. Oh, I don't know. Because that has new seals, which is probably a good thing. Now, is there a thread in there for me to latch this onto once it comes out? I don't know. I don't know. So I am going to stick with this old end because I can't seem to get this adapter that goes onto the pedal to come out of the old one, but there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. We do have that copper washer, which seems to be missing, to be fair, from the original setup. So I'm just going to clean this up. And then use this one and pop the circuit back in, and hopefully that can work for us. This might be counterproductive, but let's hope it's one of the seals in there that failed in the old one. Bloody hell. We'll find out, I guess. So let's just stick that copper washer back on here. Nice. You can go in there. And then this whole shebang can go down. Is this washer too big? No. It's got to come out because I need this gone. Bloody hell, this is something, isn't it? Shit. So what's really cool is it just seems that this push rod end here doesn't screw in, it should just pull out. So removing number 9, the circlip, was probably a bad idea. potentially. Or is that, yeah, that's another washer going into a gator going into 11, which is a boot clip and then a boot clip and then a pushrod. Jesus. So maybe it just pulls out and then I can just slip it into the new one and I didn't have to buy a Circlip remover and I didn't have to do anything. But this does mean I can service the old one, so good news there. But let's try and pull this rusted rod out then. Well, this doesn't appear to be working. So, Dr. Hammond, he's saying, I mean, this is someone else's question about a stuck push rod in a brake master cylinder, and he's saying if you stick the master cylinder in a vise and put the large rod through the hole in the end of the rod stuck in the master cylinder, okay, the rod should pop out with a few aggressive whacks with a hammer. Okay. Well, I'm having no luck with hammering the push rod out, or jamming it out, or jangling it, so I guess it's just rusted in there forever. So it's probably a case of ordering a new push rod, and then, I mean, it's going to be at least a month until I can crack on with this, which is sad. But yeah, I mean, I've soaked it in oil and all kinds of shite now, so maybe it'll eat through and we can remove it with ease tomorrow maybe. But that's that. It looks like push rods are about a £5, just like the Circlip remover that I didn't need. So I guess it's time to just try and rebuild the Circlip on that old one and on the new one and call it a day. Sad. Well, at least that was super easy. It's reassembled, ready for the push rod to go in whenever the new one turns up. But, I mean, if that's acting as one, pushes it down. It's a very clean cylinder still. That works. The spring's all good. So let's wait for the new parts. Fantastic. I'd just like to say, I imagine I'm making mistakes a lot of people would make, kind of just running in head first, which is all part of the fun. And I'm not a professional at all. I'm trying my best, and I hope you enjoy these videos so you learn from my mistakes so you don't make them. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to reassemble the old one too, which is really shit to push in, to be honest. So there was definitely an issue in there somewhere with a seal, just full of crap. But if I get this put back together, I've got a bit more purchase when it comes to knocking 7 shades out of it to try and get this push rod out, which I've still got a bit of hope for. Right. Oh yeah, I'm glad I bought these at least. It's really cool. And that in place. Lovely. Is that one as good? I hope so. So yeah, that's all back together, just like that. So you can always reverse your mistakes really easily. You just need the tools to do it, and luckily I do. Hey, turns out I might be having some luck. This appears to be moving around, so maybe I can keep it. So the camera battery died when I was outside knocking the 7 shades out of the master cylinder of the old one once I put the assembly back in. Then I just proceeded to hammer the hell out of it on the ground, saw it moving around left and right. I knew that things inside the cylinder couldn't move that much, so a bit more left and right in with the hammer. And now, here's the new one with the push rod in, and it's literally... that's the end. So there's no thread or nothing on there. It's just a blunt end. I've got it back as straight as I can, so that should work fine. Well, it seems to work fine going into this new one. And you can hear. So that's it. The pedal's going to actuate everything else that's in there and ready assembled. So when you do get your new cylinder, hold off on removing any circlips or any of that, because it doesn't seem that you need to do it. So tomorrow, it's literally a case, and thank God we can do it tomorrow, because I'm literally working all the way through to October, and I don't think there'll be many more MORRiS videos until then, to be honest. But yeah, it's a busy old end of the year, catching up with the August that I've taken off. So yep, that's all going to work. That's going to go onto the pedal. Spin, 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 and then we'll slide the master cylinder on, and then we'll whack the old bolts through the chassis, and we'll tie the brake line to the banjo just there, and that's it. Hopefully we fill it with brake fluid then. .4 is apparently fine, and then bleed the system, and fingers crossed we have some bloody brakes finally. So thanks for sticking with me with this video. It's been a bit of a journey, and this was all within like an hour and a half. It hasn't been long, but what the hell. At least we've got a Circlip set, and we will be fixing the old cylinder and hopefully selling it if the inside metal work isn't too shady. But we'll find out, but it's definitely good for spares anyway. So thanks for joining me. I've been a Brummy Wonders, and that has been a successful mission. Thank you.